Hi, I'm Isabella Angulo, and this is my final project, This Is Me. So, throughout the course, I have become more observant of my actions and ways in which I treat others that might not be so great. I have learned that empathy definitely leads to better communication, and I have tried to implement this into my relationships to make people feel like I understand what it's like to be in their shoes and that I respect any circumstances that they might have gone through and a reason why we maybe could have gotten into a conflict. I have also learned that culture plays a huge role in communication, and it's so important to me, especially because I came to the United States when I was 8, and I know what it's like to have difficulty understanding what might be normal for another culture, such as the American culture, that wasn't normal to me and back in Colombia. There might be things that might be normal to us that might be offensive to other people, and that can cause conflict and very bad things in relationships, which can lead to the ends of relationships and just conflict should always be avoided. And I think that culture plays a huge role in sometimes the development of these conflicts. Another thing that I learned was the technology's role in communication and the way we rely on it so much. And I truly believe that it is one of the reasons why relationships nowadays fail so easily, because we're always so focused and sending text messages and sending emails and sending voicemails and phone calls instead of being there for that person in real time, which takes away from a huge chunk of the reality of the relationship. If one is, of course, always sending text messages, the tone might be different and you can't read someone's body language. So if you don't choose your words wisely, someone that is receiving that message might take it the wrong way, and it can really cause a barrier between relationships. And it has happened to me once or twice, especially with family members back home in Colombia. When I send them things, they might take it the wrong way because they don't know how I mean it. They're not hearing my voice and they're not seeing me, so they don't really understand what I'm trying to say. And it's important that we know how to use more positive language instead of maybe a lot of the you language and you did this, you did that, you are not good, it's a type of language that is always blaming the other person instead of being constructive and saying, I think, I feel, I think that we should go here. Maybe you can do this and I can do this, but always saying I is a less derogative way and a less confronting way, and it might not make the person feel as uncomfortable as you language would. It's I guess you can say it's constructive instead of asserting and demanding. It is also super important to understand the tone in relationships. So this is kind of like the climate of the relationship, and it can go one of two ways. There's disconforming communication and confirming communication. And so disconfirming communication can be very negative and it can bring a person down really easily, but confirming messages and confirming communication can really uplift a person. So throughout the class, that's something that I've been trying to be more aware of when I use disconforming communication and confirming communication. I want to be someone who is making another person feel like they can be the better version of themselves, and just showing them that we care and like acknowledging another person's feelings and making them understand that we are listening to them intently and that we care about what they're talking about, not that we're just listening through one ear and that it's coming out the other. For example, I feel like I'm a pseudo listener sometimes. I often like just wander when someone is talking to me, and it's something that I really had to change in my relationships because it has deteriorated a lot of them, and I know how some people can get offended and how some people can feel like you don't care about them because you're not listening to what they're saying. And that's so frustrating. Like when someone does it to me, I hate it. So it's definitely something that I've been trying to work on, and really being more observant and empathetic as to how I can change this and how I can use more confirming messages to uplift a person and make them feel like I'm really acknowledging them. Another thing that's super important is conflict, and It's something that we shouldn't overlook because communication can be verbal, non-verbal, and it can be about listening. It doesn't necessarily have to be like we're speaking at all. It can be about body language, and that all goes back to just confirming communication and just the signals that you give off to the other person. So it's important that we understand conflict and that we use it as a way to build our relationships, and instead of taking conflict and avoiding the situation, it is important that we work with the other person with collaboration, and we help them and we help each other to solve a bigger problem instead of avoiding the problem, patching over it, and then we have a type of conflict like that again, and then it just explodes. I think that I have really adapted that to my life because I had a really hard time with my relationships, keeping up with them, and sometimes I just like put that aside, but most of the time I try to collaborate and making sure that we solve the problem instead of just patching over it and then it comes back to haunt you because you never solved the problem in the first place. I'm graduating this semester, and I'm getting ready to face real life communication professionally, especially. I'm an artist, so it is really important for me to sell my work and really get myself out there, market myself. So if I understand how to talk to people and how to listen to people and make others feel like I'm there for them, then they're going to want me around, and they'll want to hire me, and I'll have a better chance professionally. I want to work with people, and I have to be patient and show body language that is positive and gives the impression that I care about my customers and about the people that I'm attending, whether I'm selling them a painting or I get another job. And I am really on edge because I'm graduating, so I might not treat my relationships as a whole as I should be doing right now because I'm so concerned about all of my things and I'm not thinking about anyone else. But I'm really working on that, and I know that all of these things can't happen overnight, and that I will build them with patience and progress, and really just making sure that I motivate myself in order to keep strengthening my relationships and putting more effort into the relationships that I have and making them better and making the other person better and making them feel like I'm really there for them. I have learned so much throughout this course, and I know how important communicating is with family, with friends, with professors, with bosses, with uncles, aunts, with anybody, and it's really important that we take the time to understand what's going on within ourselves and how it's best for us to communicate with other people, and really just taking it day by day and understanding that fixing a problem in communication isn't going to happen overnight.